It'll take a second.
It's
All
all
right, we're
good.
live. Jansen Harris here with the final play on the Just Good Network. Sean Fowler, like always, joining me. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Periscope, whichever one you're going to call it. Sean, let's start off with the Jazz, 29-10. Dan Snyder got them playing out their minds. Top 5 in defensive efficiency, top 5 in offensive efficiency.
Most definitely.
Do you feel like this Jazz team is for real? I know you're a Lakers guy. I know most people expect the Lakers, Clippers to fight it out for the Western Conference crown.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do, Jason. I feel like they're for real because it's like this. You know, they went 3. They were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets. You know, who wasn't up 3-1 against the Nuggets? We've seen the Jazz were up 3-1, the Clippers, and the Nuggets just did what they did. They ended up defeating those teams. But I say that because of this. Donovan Mitchell, to me, ever since his rookie year, you know, his rookie year, he was amazing to me. He got them to the playoffs, beat OKC, lost in the second round. The next year, he was decent. I don't think they made the playoffs in 2018, but the following season last year, they made it to the playoffs again and lost against the Nuggets. But I've seen Donovan Mitchell continue to grow as a player, and he's their franchise. You know, we see Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago. You know, we see he's always one of the best big men, defending big men. So as a collective whole, you know, I feel like the Jazz, they can only continue to get better. Of course, you know, by them being the best, say the number 1 seed and one of the better teams, quote unquote, on paper in the whole NBA, it's like, are they really that team? Because we know, are we really a believer in them? They're Utah, they're a small market team. You know what I mean? It's just the history. It's the Lakers, it's LeBron, it's the Clippers. No matter if they had, you know, a 10-game stretch on the Lakers right now, if they won 10 more games, we'll still be questioning because it's still the Utah Jazz. We've seen what happened last year. But as of right now, man, I got to give them their respect. You know, Donovan Mitchell is having a great season. He's an all-star again with Rudy Gobert. You know, and I mean, I believe this team. To be the champs, you got to beat the champs, and that's still the Los Angeles Lakers. You know what I mean? But I do believe this team can be that they're a threat. I believe if they were to face the Lakers, you know, because they're the 1 seed, say in the Western Conference Final, it can go 6 or possibly 7 games. I still give the edge to the Lakers, but as far as them being, I'll say this, they're a threat, say, to the Lakers in the Western Conference because I feel like, you know, they have they feel disrespected. You know what I mean? We've seen LeBron I think too, picking the last 2 players of the best team in the conference last, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. So I think they want that respect. You know, they have that confidence, but I'm still gonna have to lean towards the Lakers and possibly the Clippers is my first 2. But they are a threat, though. I'll say that.
Absolutely, Sean. When you got a guy like Donovan Mitchell, first of all, it's like he's one of the most hated players in the league. Him, and we're going to talk about your boy a little bit later on, Damian Lillard. But I feel like Donovan Mitchell just doesn't get credit. 24 years old, almost averaging 25 points a game, leading this team. Him and Rudy Gobert. Gobert is having phenomenal year, average about 14 a game. Rebounds numbers are always up. He's doing what he got to do. Defensive efficiency for him. He sets the tone. He's the rim protector. You don't just go in there and score at the basket easy. That's what I like about Rudy Gobert. And I know some people don't like Rudy Gobert. Well, he's not that guy who's going to go out there, hit the jumper, do this, do that, and third. He ain't that guy.
Yeah.
But look, he gets nasty with guys. He's a tough guy. He's one of those dudes. You feel me? He's a wall. He's a wall. He stops guys. Could win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So when I look at this Jazz team, 29-10, best record, I love what they're doing. With AD out, they continue to win. Now, do they feel like a championship team? No. But Michael Conley, I know he's going to be out for tonight's game. When he plays, he's a leader. He's one of those guys who's been there, done that. He's playing at a high level. A lot of people aren't talking about him. This Jazz team isn't sexy. They're not the sexy team. But you know what? Let's talk about Jordan Clarkson. Your boy. Sean.
Not to mention him, too. That's true.
Yep. Jordan Clarkson, 18 points a game. Some people don't even know that. Jordan Clarkson's balling. He had a 50-point game this year. He's letting people know, hey, I don't need LeBron to be great. I don't need the Lakers to be great. And you said it a bunch of times. A lot of these Laker players are great without LeBron or great without the Lakers. And Jordan Clarkson's doing that. Joe Ingles. Look, this Jazz team, don't sleep. Do not sleep. This Jazz team, they're doing what they have to do. They're doing what they have to do. I'm not saying they're the favorites, but they're a good story. Them and the Suns are a good story. Why are they a good story? They're playing defense. Mm-hmm. And in this league, in the NBA nowadays, people do not play defense at all.
Yeah.
So you show up defensively, you're winning games. So with Anthony Davis out, because everybody's concerned about the Lakers. With Anthony Davis out, with the Clippers a little bit lackadaisical, I feel like the Clippers need to be better than what they are.
Yeah, 4 seed, yeah.
Yes. Right now, we're going to take it how we take it. I'm not saying they're going to the Western Conference Finals. I know some people out there, especially the people who don't want to see LA versus LA, they want the Jazz against the Suns. There's some people out there. I know you got type of fans out there. You guys want the ugly match, the Jazz and the Suns. It's probably not going to happen. But look, the Jazz are a team people can rally around. They're the underdogs. They're the underdog team people can rally around. People can say, you know what, this is the team that we don't like the Lakers. We don't like the Clippers. We're going to like the Jazz. They do things ugly. And I think Donovan Mitchell, he's not getting any credit for MVP. But I'm going to throw his name in the MVP race. He's not going to get it, but I'm going to throw his name up there because how well the Jazz are doing. And it does depend on team success. And Donovan Mitchell, he's always been a tough guy. He's always been a clutch guy. In this, he needs to be up there. So we got to give him respect too.
Most definitely, man. I mean, for me, I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the better young players. I'll take him over Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and I would. I mean, I said this last year. I just think I feel like Jason Tatum is a very good player as well. You know, I'm not saying he's head over heels over Jason Tatum, but from what I've seen him do, you remember what it was like in Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell. They were like averaging like 30, 35 points a game. It was going back and forth. They won 7 games for a reason. You know, so seeing how the Utah Jazz had lost in Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets, I was just like, man, look, if Donovan Mitchell and this Jazz team can continue to grow with the weapons that they have, and I think they had Kyle Korver's on they had Joe Ingles, not Kyle Korver, excuse me. But you know, just with the 3-point marksman and Jordan Clarkson still young, I feel like the Jazz can definitely be contention. So it's not a super surprise that they're doing well this year, but I do feel like I'm just going to leave off and say that they are a threat in the Western Conference. So I'm
absolutely, Sean. Let's move on to your guy. Let's talk about Damian Lillard. He just goes off. You got a guy who could hit literally all the shots that Steph Curry could hit. Mm-hmm. You see a player who's motivated each and every night. We had these arguments off air all the time about Damian Lillard, Giannis. It goes on. We do this in the group chat all the time. Sean, break down what you're seeing at Damian Lillard. Tell us why you think he's top 5 player. I know this is pretty much your guy right now in the league. Tell us why, man.
Man, it's just the hunger, man. You know what I mean? Damian Lillard, he's not the one to talk a lot, but he just shows he's hungry. You know, he's loyal. You know, I know that's one of the things that you say you respect about him is that he's loyal, man. He's not gonna back down. He's not gonna go to another team. And I just love his mentality, man. It kind of reminds me of Errol Spence in a way, quiet but deadly. You know what I mean? It's about that grind. And what I love about Dame, man, is like you said, you know, when I said before, when you put him up, say stylistically, like as far as the traits with Steph Curry, he can shoot. I mean, they're calling it Dame range. You know, I'm not going to have this straight comparison, but he can shoot just as far. Steph Curry's the best shooter of all time. Even Dame said it right after the game they won. Yeah, and I'll give him that. But Dame Lillard is the second leading scorer in the NBA. He's averaging 30 points a game. You know what I mean? You know, he's also averaging 8 assists this year. So, and the fact that CJ McCollum was out for like about a month and a half, and he was still Nurkic is still out, and he's in the MVP race. So for this thing, what he's been doing all this year, man, he's always been a clutch guy to me. But especially this season, Jansen, having them in I believe the fifth, the 6th seed, you know, seesawing. I mean, he's just having a great season, man. And for me to see what he did against the New Orleans Pelicans. 8 minutes left, down 17 points. I was about to turn the game off. I was like, it's over. They can't stop them. They don't have defense, which is their Achilles heel. They don't have great defense. But when you get Nurkic back, you know what I mean? I think it can help the defending inside the paint. But just seeing him score, you know, at will and the 3 points, man, the 3-point shot, and just him taking over a 50-point game and over 10 assists again, dude, it's Dame time every time, man. And I just believe he's a clutch player in the league. I feel like as of right now, he's a top 5 player, man. I think he's the best point guard just by a little bit.
Sean, I have to break this down. This could really go all night. Like, first of all, I want to say I love your analysis on Damian Lillard. You've literally, Sean is no faker, guys. He's been on Damian Lillard for a long time. He's one of those guys. Literally every game, Rob be sleeping. Sean hit me up. Damian Lillard game, NBA TV. So Sean is not playing games. So Sean, I have to just pick your brain on this Damian Lillard thing. I remember Shaq saying, and it was interesting because I thought the same thing. He was giving credit to Steph Curry. Do you think that in Damian Lillard's mind, Steph Curry is just a little bit better? And I'm only saying this because of this. He gave Steph Curry, he was quick to give Steph Curry that credit. And I just thought it was like, hey, man, look, you're playing just as well. You can hit every shot. We saw what you did in the All-Star game. Do you think Damian Lillard psychologically thinks that Steph Curry, and you saw he gave him credit, you mentioned that, is just a little bit better? Do you feel like he values his rings and what he's accomplished, or do you think he's just showing a little bit of respect?
I think he's showing respect because he didn't say he's a better player. He said he's a better shooter. And I feel like with Damian Lillard's mindset, he doesn't care about he might be a little bit better because he's always, I feel like, with him and the mindset, he's always expecting to give it all he got, and he lived with the results. He's going to try to win. You know what I mean? So when he plays against Steph, I think just seeing, especially them being on the same All-Star team, I think for probably I don't know if this is probably the first time that they've been on the same exact All-Star team, and then I remember in the All-Star game with Coach Jansen, when he hit that half-court shot, he passed it to Steph. And Steph hit, the fact that Steph hit it right after he did, it's a mutual respect. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's thinking, oh, this guy's better than me. Nah, he's just like, you know what? We kind of got similar game styles. You know what I mean? We both can shoot from out the gym. And, we play, real similar. And that's what he said, talking to Shaq and the TNT crew after the game, saying, our styles are similar. So I don't think it's him psychologically thinking, he's better than me, but he just said he's the best shooter. Being a better shooter doesn't necessarily mean you're a better player. So
absolutely, Sean.
I think it's more respect, Jansen, towards your question.
Great breakdown. Look, when I watch the game, Sean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I will say this. Although here's my reasoning for me saying it's always this. Now it's a Steph Curry, Damian Lillard thing, and to me, there's a respect out of it. I seen Steph Curry. Forget just the way they played. Let's just talk about him being the number one guy when they won the championship in 2015. But then here's where I really thought Steph Curry, he shocked me, how quickly he adapted to accepting Kevin Durant on the team, and just they still flourished. They still were great. To me, this team was unbeatable. That's the best team I've ever seen play in my life. You feel me? You know how hard I was going for Cleveland. I was trying to convince myself that Cleveland was going to win the series. That's how sad it was. But it didn't happen. That was the best team put together, and they lost to 2019 to Toronto because Kevin Durant was out. If this team was healthy, and you saw Klay Thompson went down, this team was healthy, they probably would have won the championship, in my opinion. And maybe other people think that as well too. But when I look at Damian Lillard and Steph Curry play today, if we're talking about today, right now, Damian Lillard is he looks hungrier. He looks hungrier. And I'm not gonna say he's better than Steph Curry, but it's trending that way the way I'm watching, Sean. You catch me in a couple of weeks, you catch me in a month, I might start agreeing with you. But from what I see, man, Damian Lillard, you might be right. I'm gonna give you your flowers, man. At first I was like, Damian Lillard's not a top 5 player, but this season, as we speak right now, Damian Lillard's a top 5 player. And
I'll just end off with this real quick, Jansen. And I've always given Steph respect. Coming into this season, I still said Steph, my top 5. Steph is always in my top 5. I had Giannis around 7 or 8 or, around that area, arguably with Dame. So, but I've always gave Steph the nod. And even what Dame's doing right now, I'm not going to say he's just heads and heels over Steph, but I would say if we're talking about coming into this season, I say I don't see things that Steph does so much better than Dame. You know what I mean? I see them being close. So I agree with you. I think if we have this pick, I think it's trending for Dame if we're going to have a comparison. But I still give Steph his respect. 105 straight threes in practice, still amazing. He's still great, even though he has an injury right now. But
Absolutely, man. And let me say this about Damian Lillard, Sean. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're really the reason why I wanted to tune in more to the game. I was like, Sean keeps talking about him every single day. Literally every single day, Sean's talking about Damian Lillard. That's just what it is. That's what Sean is doing, is talking about Damian Lillard. But he's that great. He is that great this season. And the way he's playing, how hungry, I sense that hunger. Sean. Talk about Damian Lillard's hungry. His humble background. We know he boxes. We know he was a guy who wasn't highly recruited in high school. He was a guy who wasn't really looked at in college as the guy, the next big thing. Tell me, Sean, you think that how that motivation was that built him to the player he is today? Just tell me about that.
Yeah, man. I just think it's like you said, it starts from humble beginnings. You know what I mean? Born in Oakland, California. You know, he's number 0, but he said he chose the number because it looks like it represents Oakland. So every time they go to Golden State and Oakland, California, you know what I mean? Well, it's in San Francisco now, but the point is it's around that area. He's definitely going to ball out, especially when he goes to his hometown. So, you know, I feel like with Dame, man, it's just his upbringing, man. And like he said as well, man, it was a great interview right after the game, man. It's about a couple minutes if you didn't get to see it. But he just started about humble beginnings, man. And you know, he always gets the work done first. You know, when people get big and things like that, you know, credit to the. I feel like what makes legends, man. I believe Damian Lillard is on his way to being a legend. Just seeing a lot of stats that's been breaking down, and he's been accumulating over these years, man. The point is they never lose that grind. You know what I mean? Kobe Bryant, you know, my favorite athlete of all time.
Absolutely.
He was great so long. You can have all the championships, but you're going to still, even at 35 years old, you're going to attack and be the best you can. We always talk about having that model mentality. You know, even before he passed, you know, hey, what would Kobe do? You know what I mean? Steph Curry, these guys, the legends, LeBron James, man, they just have that. They have that mindset. You know, regardless of the amount of championships, you know, we're always going to attack every day. You know, like it's our last, man, because you never know. So I think Damian Lillard has that. We call it that dog. You know what I mean? That dog mentality, man. Hey, you know, he's getting his sponsors now. He got the shoes. He got the Hulu has live sports. You know, He got the drinks. But hey, he's not letting it get to his head. We've seen athletes let it get to their head. I'm not gonna call any names out. You know, Subway commercials, the athletes, and where are they at now? You know what I mean? But at the same time, and things happen, injuries happen. But at the same time, man, it's like Damian Lillard, man, he's just staying true to who he is, man. And this is something I've seen, you know, but before he exploded this year, because he had a great season last year. He averaged 30 last year. But, you know, man, I just always appreciate the underdogs, man. And I always like seeing people have redemption stories and just having, like, they don't get as much credit, but they're just as dangerous. So that's why I've been a big fan of Damian Lillard, man.
Absolutely. So you know what? Usually, I don't know why, man. Usually on these type of topics, I'm the same way. You don't let them underdogs. You feel me?
Yeah.
I usually do, man. But Sean, look, you're opening my eyes up to Damian Lillard. I've always thought Damian Lillard was a strong player, good player. I thought he was always disrespected by not being on the All-Star team. But I am starting to come around to him. Damian, I'm starting to like Dame because Dame, the feeling I get from him is he's using everything that he was undermined with, people not giving him credit, just like Sean just broke down to you thoroughly, did a great job doing that. I do feel the same way now with Damian Lillard. I'm starting to come around. At first, like, I don't know about this guy, plays in Portland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's getting a little bit of buzz. I watch him play. I'm like, ooh, I see a lot of toughness. Forget the numbers, Sean. Forget the numbers for a second. I just see toughness. I see a guy who's hungry. I see a guy who just got it in him. Was like, you know, he's a dog, man. He's one of those guys. He's not looking at, oh, do I got the nicest outfit on? He's at practice early. He's leaving late. He's playing defense. He's tough. He's motivating guys, leading by example. That's the word I'm looking for. He's leading by example.
Exactly.
And that's what I see in Damian Lillard right now is he's leading by example. He don't have to be the loudest guy in the room. You don't have to have all the clout like maybe LeBron has or even Giannis. The guy, I've been a Giannis supporter and stuff like that. We might have to sneak in a Giannis question how well he's been playing, Sean. But,
yes. I see it.
But Damian Lillard, I will say he deserves his flowers. Damian Lillard deserves his flowers. Sean, let's transition to the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
And we see everything they're doing against the Sixers. They both have the same record. They're about to overtake them. We know Joel Embiid is out for a while, so I project that they'll probably pass the Sixers. How do you feel, Sean, about this Nets team? Hey, shoot, it's your question. Is it championship or bust? Sean, tell us.
I think it is, man. You know what I mean? We can talk about chemistry and things like that, but when you have superstars, the fact that Kevin Durant is out and they're on a 6-game winning streak, they won their last 13 out of 14, man, is something special, man, because James Harden is used to being, you know what, I'm the guy on the team, even though I had an all-star in Russell Westbrook, you know, not the same as Zach Russ, but pretty much I'm the guy. I'm the number one guy. You're not the number one guy no more. You know, but the fact that you're clearly the second best player in the team behind Kevin Durant, but you're still leading this team like it's like if Kevin Durant's not here, I think they could still win a couple series. You know what I mean? Because that's how talented they are. Then you have a Kyrie Irving, then a Blake Griffin. He hasn't even, you know, he's not even playing yet. And then the Joe Harris, the best statistically 3-point shooter in the NBA right now. You know, this team is loaded, and you still have a Mike D'Antoni who people forget is an assistant coach on the team behind a Steve Nash. You know what I mean? So they're just loaded everywhere, man. The mental, the physical. You know, so I'd say it's championship or bust. And as far as winning, not just making, just because, man, I think they're way too talented. And the fact that they won their last 13 out of 14, 6 straight, Jansen, it's like even coming to the postseason where you have more time to prepare, you know, you're facing each other 4 out of 7 times at least. I think the Nets are just too talented, man. I feel like for them, James Harden will be there next year. Obviously, you know, he's not gonna go nowhere. And they can always win the championship the next season. But I feel like this year, just how they're clicking this early right now and halfway through the season, I think, yeah, they're expecting to at least win the championship. And when you get a healthy Kevin Durant back, Jansen, it's like, how do you stop this thing? This can arguably rival the Golden State Warriors. They don't have as great shooting because Steph Curry, the best shooter of all time, Clay, and those guys, even Boogie being decent, and Draymond Green, it's like the whole Avengers. But, you know, I feel like for the man, it's championship or bust, at least for them, I would say.
Absolutely, man. Look, let's talk about James Harden real quick. You know, I've been a big James Harden supporter. I've personally, if you're into betting, and I know the sporting betting thing is even bigger nowadays, and it's more mainstream. Look, I bet before it was even all this mainstream, I was betting money on James Harden, and I was losing. But, you know, James has always been my guy. You know how many times I've defended this guy? So to see James Harden cooking, I'm so happy. To see him back in shape, unlike me, I'm so happy. You feel me? To see James Harden out there knowing his role, still being aggressive, like you said with Kevin Durant out, I am happy, Sean. This Nets team is a factor. I will come out and say this. They are the favorite to win the championship right now, Sean. They are the favorite because I see hunger. I see a guy in Kyrie Irving, and we got it before. Kyrie spoke against LeBron James. I was so happy. You know I was happy, Sean, because I was like, you know what? I'm so tired of guys, and it's the Steph Currys of the world, even sometimes the Kevin Durant's of the world, these other stars kissing LeBron's behind. Where is the competition? Where is the guys who believe in themselves that they are the best, even if it might not be true to the most public people like me? You feel me? Who we get it wrong all the time. You feel me? That's what I like to see. When I seen Kyrie Irving come out and say that set the tone. He doesn't care what these media people think. He don't care what I think. And I like that. I like that, man. When I seen guys like Stephen A and other go, oh, Kyrie should retire. Absolutely not. Do what you got to do. James Harden, you got the chip on your shoulder because, look, as much as I defend him, the media has been crapping on James Harden. They've been crapping on Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant, they don't want it. You spoke about this too. When he was healthy, we had these debates, him and LeBron James, who was the best player. It was very close. Yeah. Sean, to me, it was very close. So, yeah, I barely had confidence saying, LeBron got to that, but you saw what KD was doing. So this team is so motivated. And now they got a guy like DeAndre Jordan. Well, they've been had DeAndre Jordan, but DeAndre Jordan, what I like about him is he's hungry. He's a vet. He wants this championship. And then you add Blake Griffin. Now y'all got the game messed up. Blake Griffin has hope again. To me, some of his numbers being down was because he was on a terrible team. He was on a team in Detroit. It's like guys get hurt in Detroit. They get their money, they get hurt. They're playing how they need to play. Blake Griffin is motivated again. Remember when the media would love Blake Griffin? Yep. Remember when Blake Griffin was that guy, Sean, who used to all the tomahawk donks. Remember Zion. Absolutely. That's how they're treating Zion now. Shoot. Remember how he was? Guess what? Once he starts playing, he's going to be so motivated. Playing with a DeAndre Jordan. Look, I said the Lakers before the season. I'll reiterate. I thought they would win the championship in 7 games. I'm not as confident right now. I think it's championship or bust for the Nets. I love what Steve Nash is doing. I didn't hear you give him credit, Sean, but I'm going to give him credit. I love what Steve Nash is doing. I love Mike D'Antoni as an assistant coach. I'm glad you brought that up. Why? Because that's important, too. He sets the tone as well, too. He's been there, done that with James Harden. I love all these past relationships, and now they can have that work relationship. So I think the Nets, they're primed to win. But, Sean, look, we just decided to talk about those 3 topics, but I have to throw this in there. Look, the Bucks, they're the 3rd seed right now in the East, right? And we always criticize Giannis for not making shots, or we criticize the shooters, or they're too defense, they're too boring, they can't make the finals. How do you feel about PJ Tucker, man? We got to throw that in there for you.
No, I think PJ Tucker, he definitely gives him another dog mentality. You know what I mean? He's a tough guy. You know, he was tired of Houston too. I mean, once you ship your 2 best players, I mean, it's like, and you're on an 18-game losing streak. Let me get out of here. Let me actually compete for a championship, because we were so close the last couple of years. But now everybody's going. So I think with PJ Tucker, man, he's a good shooter. You know, he's a spot up 3 shooter. You know, he's a little older now. So I feel like for the Bucks, it helps out some more. You know, Giannis, I give it to you. Giannis closed the game last night against the 76ers, although Joel Embiid didn't play. But he's looking okay. I'm gonna give him some more respect. He's always been a top 10 player to me. I'm not gonna disrespect him like that. But I feel like you know, for the Bucks, they're the 3rd seed, like you said. And if they can just have some more of that mentality, you know, they have a Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton is still there. If they can just if Giannis can still develop more of a jump shot, I say this a little bit better, a little bit better jump shot, man. He's talented enough to destroy the league, because you can't stop him driving the ball. And if he get his free throws up some more too. So I feel like with the Bucks, man, they're always going to be a threat in the Eastern Conference. Yes, because of Giannis and those guys can continue to make jump shots. You know, Chris Middleton continue to be consistent. He was an all-star last year. I feel like he deserves more credit, but they can be a threat. And I think bringing in PJ Tucker, at least possibly coming off the bench, can help as well. So watch out for the Bucks. I give you that.
Absolutely. Look, I'm so happy. Finally, Bucks, get yourself a 3-point shooter. The Bucks, look, Sean, don't get things twisted. Do not get things twisted with this Bucks team. They need to make the finals too. That's still their expectation. Yeah. When they made that trade for Drew Holiday and gave up all they gave up, like he was the primary player in this league, like he was one of those main dudes you look at and say, okay, he's going to be the huge difference maker. They put that monkey on their back. And you were right last year about Giannis. Look, them being out as early as they were, him and Chris Middleton, they have something to prove. And you talk about Coach Bud, who I have a lot of respect for. I think Coach Bud is a heck of a coach. I know Atlanta didn't appreciate him like they should have. I know the Bucks, it looks like it's running thin if they don't make the finals this year. But this trade for PJ Tucker, I think PJ Tucker is going to really help them. It's going to help close the gap with the Nets. I think the Nets is the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I said this before they even made the trade for James Harden. But at the end of the day, Giannis, remember he got those 3 straight triple-doubles, Sean? I know you didn't forget about that. And he passed Kareem for the most 30-point triple-doubles. I'm not saying he's better than him. I just thought it was a milestone that low-key, he might not say out there, really meant a lot to him, because we know what Kareem means to the NBA. And Giannis, as a young player as he is, I think that means a lot to him.
Too, I believe. Kareem,
exactly. Right? Just putting that in perspective is probably mind-blowing for him, looking at a guy who's won as many championships as Kareem won. So I think for the Bucks, this helps them, but it also puts more pressure on them, Sean. Finals or bust for the Bucks. It's finals or bust. So this is a team that needs to make the championship. I don't care, bro. They need to make the championship.
Hey, Jason, guess who's the 4th seed? They're back. I'm back. Jimmy Buckets.
Yep.
I'm just leaving it at that. That's how I'm going to leave it at. They
Sean, you're giving off vibes that you're thinking that the Bucks could lose to the Heat again.
It's a little rivalry. I'm gonna just leave it at that, Jansen. Hey, they did go, I think, 5 or 6 games. I think was it 5? It was 5 games against the Heat. And look, I understand situations, the bubble is his excuse, but the Heat are heating up. No pun intended. But because the Heat were out the playoffs for a second, they're all the way at the fourth seat now. So we're talking about pressure. The Heat are still the Eastern Conference champions. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but hey, Eric Spoelstra, those guys, they're gritty, they're dogs as well. Bam is healthy, you know what I mean? Jimmy Butler. So we just got to give it. Hey, don't forget about them. I'm going to say that. Excuse me.
Absolutely, man. We can't forget about them, and it's going to be a race, man. The East is a little bit better. I think it's still going to go through the Nets. I still think the Nets have the advantage right now. I give the Nets the advantage over the Lakers. I had so much confidence in the Lakers. I know AD's out. I'm a little disappointed in the Lakers, but I'm not surprised. The West period has, I guess, they haven't been doing as well as I thought they would be doing. The Lakers, they've been okay. But they don't look at a championship team. With AD back, they have to kick it. Maybe there's a second gear for you guys. Maybe there's a third gear for you guys, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. I just feel like right now the Nets, they feel like the favorite. Do you feel like the Nets are the favorite, Sean?
I mean, it's still kind of early, Jance. You know, I just thought about it too. AD's not here. You know, the Lakers have kind of been on a little winning streak, and the playoffs aren't here. You know, once the playoffs get here, you know, the refs, they let them play a little bit. You know what I mean? It's probably not going to be a common foul or techs that would be in the regular season. They're not going to call it tech. It's just a common foul now. You know what I mean? They might let it flip. They never let the flagrants go, but I feel like once the playoffs come in, you know, teams start really. The coaching gets more constant. You know, it's more constant because you have a couple weeks to play this team. So, I mean, are the Nets the favorite? They're the favorite, yes, but at the same time, like I said earlier, to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. So I'm still going to give it towards the Lakers because once AD gets back, LeBron James in the 7-game series, it's a reason you say Lakers in 7 every time, no matter who it is. Because LeBron James, he doesn't lose 7-game series as often. If it goes 7 games, I should say. You know, we know the finals record. We know the finals record of 4-6, but if it goes 7, LeBron more than often he wins those. You know, so with respect, you got to give it to Laker Nation, man. Hey,
absolutely, man. I mean, let me look at the comments real quick. Jansen, my brother, you have a lot of talent. I appreciate that, David. I know you've been supporting a lot of stuff. I appreciate that, man. Go check out Sean Fowler too, man. I couldn't have done it without him. Every time we make videos, he gives you guys that reel. That's the thing about Sean, man. He's the same guy on air as off air. You feel me? We have all these conversations, but it's like I call him up and be like, hey, Sean, how do you feel about this, and that? It ain't got to be about sports, and he always breaks it down. But back to the on-air thing, he's one of those guys you have to worry about. You feel me? He's one of those guys you got to bring an A game. If you don't bring an A game, it's a long day. It's a long day. Like I say in boxing, it's a long day.
Hey, same thing to you, Jason. You know what I mean? You help me out definitely. You know, this with the broadcasting and just speaking and things like that, man. Bring more of the energy, I should say. So same thing as well. You know what I mean? I might win the majority of the debates, but hey, you got to bring a game of Jansen too.
Sean with a left hand. You feel me? Sean just gave me a little left hand. I'm on behind right now, but you feel me? The other comment I don't want to say on air and stuff and offend people. Sean, you see that one too as well. I don't want to say that, man, but yeah. Thank everybody for watching today. We're going to go live more. I promise that. I got to step my game up. Sean has to step his game up. We have to bring our A game at the end of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's the final play on the Just Good Network. Go check Sean out on all social media platforms. Go check him out. He talks sports. He's posting sports stuff every day in and out. He's posting love stuff. Go check that out too. He has a love podcast for people like me who can't figure it out or other people in the community or just Americans, period, man. It's just not a black thing. You feel me? So you guys go check that out. Sean's not just talking sports. He's talking love. Yeah, I don't want to hear me talk love. Trust me. But this is the final play on the Just Good Network. Thank you guys for tuning in.